call. Call anytime. Brother Andre, he says something about the law of economics as well. But the issue that he raised, take it.
Okay, my mind is really on the issue of education.
Yes.
And being under the tutelage of the people in an educational system has made it their business to miseducate.
Yes.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if a man won't treat you right, that same man will not teach you right.
Right.
He also said these words with regard to the black man of America. He said it in this language. He said, the so-called American Negro must be completely re-educated. Then he said, the so-called American Negro, the condition that he is in, he is unfit for self. I want you to consider that. Unfit for your own self. And when you look at what we do to one another, that is evidence, big time, that we are unfit. So the process of being completely re-educated has to do with the fact of what brother was dealing with. We have to build our own institutions.
Yes.
We have to take control of the narratives of our lives and quit allowing our open enemy to our rise to tell our story. Now, Senator Henry Berry said these words. And the year prior to that, 1831 in Southampton, Virginia, a man named Nat Turner. Y'all see when y'all say Nat, everyone
Right to the reverend.
was a
Yeah, right.
reverend. And said he was a reverend.
Yes.
Right.
A man who knew how to read, and when he read scripture, he saw things that your average black person at the time, or Negro as they
Right.
called us, did not see.
Right.
He understood that he had to raise up against tyranny and oppression. Well, immediately following his rebellion, don't you know, most of your states at that time, all of them, passed very, very stiff laws against allowing the black man or the Negro to know how to read. I mean, very, very strict and stiff laws, punishable by death in most states. And that following year in 1832, in the Virginia House of Delegates, Senator Henry Berry said these words: we have successfully, as far as possible, cut off all avenues whereby light may enter the mind of the slave. So they have always, and to this day in 2015, it's still illegal for us to know. It's not on the books as a law, but whenever there's someone among us that can serve as an avenue by which to enlighten our people, they seek to shut off that avenue. Because they understand once we are reintroduced to a proper knowledge of self and our place in the world and the knowledge of others, then they understand we will begin to act the way we should with regard to our economic balance. We will begin to act the way we should politically and socially. That's why the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said he was raised, or his mission is to raise us from mental, moral, political, economic, and social debt. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of it.
Right.
And my last point to what Brother Omar was saying earlier, don't you know, brothers, in schools where our children are being educated, they are taking language out of the history books that identified us as slaves. They want to take the word slave out of the history books.
Right.
In other words, they are attempting to erase the evidence of their crime. So what are we going to do about it? And then you hear some of us say, well, we need to forget about slavery days. We need to quit dwelling on the past. We're the only people that talk like that, because he who fails to learn the lessons that history teach are doomed to repeat. And I will say this also, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, of all of our studies, history is best qualified and most attractive to reward research.
Right. Well, the historical component gives us a compass, a roadmap. And Omar, you said it, that he was the righteous Reverend Nat Turner. This is what Omar said. The righteous Reverend Nat Turner. So this talk has been going on for a while. This talk of erasing the history of our people by the white supremacists.
Yes.
And I'll go a little further and say some of these liberals, especially the conservatives as well. Do we have a comment or question from the audience? Lonnie, Jeffrey, anybody? Isaac?
Got a call.
We have a call. Let's take this call right now. Go ahead, caller, come in.
Good afternoon, brothers. This is Brother Stan Ship in English and Brother Chumbo in the Swahili language.
Okay.
I want to just briefly raise this as a point. Black lives does matter all over African America, and it also matters in Mississippi. Brother, not only to your point, I'm trying to look for bringing the entity local so that each race and part of the African American community across the country will have local points in which to relate to before the boycott and after the boycott. One of the points that I think is clear from Minister Farrakhan's speech I attended last week was that he wants to distribute or redistribute pain that we experience through oppression. One way of that is to boycott and to cause some economic pain toward on our oppression. Here's my question, brothers, and I hope you will understand that I was at the Million Man March, and also 20 years later was there, and all significant marches that 1963, the March on White. So I'm going to raise this question because I know it's difficult for Minister Farrakhan to deal with. And we've got, since economic situation, like getting up back to Mississippi, all over Nashville, where we have in our economy been overran by immigrants who are pretty much part of a resettlement program. This place persons wherever, whether it's in South Korea, due from the war there, from Yemen's Arab, from we call them Iranians, but they're not Iranians. I don't think we have very many displaced people from the land. It's pretty much the Arab countries and also Pakistan and I would even say India. But the issue that brings up Islam is like the elephant sitting in the room, nobody notices. It's not Islam that my focus is upon. I'm looking at the land and who occupies land and the fact that all of our land, outward, all over, is being purchased daily by immigrants.
Okay.
And they're using our own dollars to do that with. Therefore, we must keep the issue on the I won't want to say all, but I almost not yet. Of the Arab Muslims, our brothers, and I sent a letter.
Brother Stan, let us hear your question, brother.
On this some years ago.
Brother Stan, let us hear your question.
Yes, sir. Here's the question, and that's exactly where I'm going to stop right now.
Okay.
I do think that the minister might want to get to the position where we don't have to take our economy back from certain people from the whole Middle East, which is Italy, West Asia. But that's my question. Thank you for what you're listening.
Okay, we didn't quite get, is that right, brother? Didn't quite get the question. How did you understand it, Talut?
I didn't.
You didn't. Omar, how did you understand it? Okay. Let's do this. Let's do, a sister criticized me one time for offering my interpretations. I said, the brother said this, and she said, The brother did. That wasn't what he said. But anyway, I heard something, Jeffrey, about strategy and tactics. I heard something about, some of that, and something about afterward. But I also heard the resettlement program. And I think it's also known as it is resettlement, some program that the Arabs, it's been going on for a long time, government program, Arabs, Iranians, and all that, and monies in terms of this program allowing these individuals to open up these stores and businesses and etc. And I heard him saying something about African Americans buying into this and running to these stores as consumers. And I'm adding this whole consumerism disease. Now that's me talking. He didn't say that. So the sister, she can't say, that wasn't what he said. I'm just saying I said that part of it. So, Talut, can you do anything with what I just said?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
He said,
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. The truth of the matter is, most of these people who are relocating to America and entering into our neighborhoods are not getting any financial aid from the government. Okay, we can't forget, they're coming from their own country. They have a government in their own country, right? They have banks and financial institutions in their own countries. They don't need the United States of America finances to get a hold. They are organized. They got it together. We don't have it together. We've never had it together. We've never gotten anything from the government or anybody else other than food stamps and some education that's erroneously given to us. And so we haven't really gotten anything. You know, we've been on our own all the time. But these people are coming from different countries, okay, around the world, and they have that backbone. Okay, so they don't need us. And when they come into the neighborhood, mostly what they do is this. See, commerce, trade and commerce is a route, it's a trade route. Okay, and it's fluid. You get on it and you just go. You just go. If you get on it, you own it. So when they come in our neighborhoods back in the day and they did a survey and they found that a lot of these stores in our neighborhoods were abandoned. Vacant buildings. But once you put commerce on the bill, it's there. And they know that. And they knew that then. So they come get the building, put the same products and commodities in that building, and the people come right back, just like a herd of cattle would do. Nothing changed. They know that. We don't know that. We think that when a business was there and it goes out of business, the commerce and the trade is gone. But it's not gone. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they take advantage of that. All right? And they unite among themselves. They have certain brothers that come here and work in those stores sun up to sundown and get a fraction of the pay that anybody else would get ordinarily. So they're helping each other build wealth. Okay, we don't do that. We're on the outside looking in our own neighborhoods, thinking that it's some magic, somebody helping them. No.
Okay.
They have a different philosophy.
We continue to call for unity and culture and an economic plan. Jeffrey, question, comment? Lonnie, come on.
I just want to make an announcement.
Yes, come on.
Jackson, Tennessee. How's the listening audience doing today? Jackson, Tennessee.
Great.
Next weekend we'll be having our annual African Street Festival, and it's going to be September 4th, 5th, and 6th, the whole weekend. So something for people out in the area to do here in the West Tennessee area. Of course, Jackson's about an hour away from Memphis, but it's going to be next weekend. We had it for the past 5 years on the city property by the Jackson Parks and Recreation, and they had moved it out there and started charging the people the last, I want to say about 5 years. But originally it was on Hayes Street. right down the street from Lane College, and so this year they've agreed to go ahead and move it back down to Hayes Street. But there still will be a small cover charge for the African Street Festival. But please come out and bring your friends and family. It's going to be a great event.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
Yeah. And the number to call to get on the line, to get on the show, 327-3400.
2,500.
2500. 327-2500. Okay. Fodali,
Yes.
hold on a second. Go ahead, Minister Andre. Take it.
One of the points that several callers back dealt with was organization.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the complaints about the first march. You know, some felt like an opportunity was blown. No, it wasn't. And many don't know the effect of the first march because we are still under this illusion and expectation that the news mediums by which we get information that belong to our enemy, they're going to tell our story if it's a good one. See, that's why we stand on that corner with the Final Call newspaper.
Okay.
Because that allows us to control the narrative. But that's another point. But in terms of structure, the beauty this time is we have in place what is called a organization and mobilization manual. It's a 26-page document that you can go to www.justiceorelse.com and download yourself. And just a few highlights from the structure that's already in place. The 20th anniversary of the March, Justice or Else, will have the following organizational units. Now listen at this. You're going to have what are called IOCs, or International Organizing Committees. Then you're going to have a national organizing committee. Then you're going to have 7 regional organizing committees, 50 state organizing committees, and 500 local organizing committees. So you're going to have IOCs, NOCs, ROCs, SOCs, and LOCs. And there are 13 standing committees that will be put in place. Now, what organized group of people or black organization you know of that has had international reach at its inception? And the nations that are on board with this are listed in this mobilization manual. So the structure, we have a structure in place whereby when God blesses us, notice I said when, I didn't say if, but when we are blessed, those brothers and sisters that support and are involved will be able to come home and not have to build a structure, but one will be in place. In fact, we can erect it before we leave. And we are in the process of doing that here in Memphis. We have our local organizing committee meetings. For more information, you can call our local mosque at 901-523-2560. I might need to change that because we've been having some problems with that line. But you can go to Mosque M, mosque55.com, and you can contact us that way. But the structure, that's basically the structure, and there's a lot more to it.
Okay, we're up against the clock, but trust me, we know about having trouble with lines, phone lines. And I want to announce that I did speak with Minister Anthony Muhammad, and he did say that he was dealing with some issues, spontaneously, didn't know about them, but he will be back with us as soon as possible. So
he told me to tell he wants to come back,
Yes,
and Lord knows I want to come back in Memphis. We want to hear from the Mid-South representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan on these issues.
Right, so hopefully, week after next, we can get your brothers back.
Yes.
And Brother Fodali was the brother talking about organization.
Okay.
He was also talking about multiple groups and organizations, of which you just mentioned, and which you highlighted at the beginning of the show, that you would be doing this thing. So I dare to say, a promise made, a promise kept.
Absolutely.
Fodali,
Yes.
come on in.
Yes, I want to
Now look, Fodali. Be brief now.
It will be brief.
All right, come on.
Okay, and I wanted to say this, because we know who is going to organize and who's going to mobilize for this, and we know that basically it's going to be the core cultural nationalists and black nationalists who are going to be at the forefront of coordinating this process, because that's what's going to give us the people's interest. But I want to say that we got to make sure that we nation. We need to put pressure on the so-called black media all over the United States and all over the world to announce this and to put forward this. And it's been this way in the past that we've had mobilizations of our people to save certain things in our community. And I'm thinking about back in the day, WDIA helped to save the hospital in Mount Vallejo, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. It was done to call in media type of operation. Okay, and then I want to say that let's not be confused talking about what our people won't do and what our people have not done, because you are on this station right now because of the efforts of our people. So stop belittling our people and talk about our people don't know nothing. Our people have responded every time organizations such as Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam Louis Farrakhan have asked them to respond. So we got to begin not belittling our people and have confidence that our people will support this movement.
Okay, thank you, Brother Fodali.
Yes.
Great point. Brother Andre, go right ahead. You want to read something? This is specific to your question or comment, Fodali. Come on, brother.
The local organizing committee is what I like to deal with. That the local organizing committees will be comprised of, or should consist of, local community leaders, grassroots activists, youth and students, religious leaders, business persons, educators, mothers and fathers, and other volunteers who are inspired and willing to work together for the success. Now, a caveat of one of the points to that is where there is talent at the local level, the local organizing committee. At the national level, it says organizing committee, or the national organizing committee will also be comprised of key local organizing committee conveners. So the structure is such that, and brothers and sisters, go to justiceorelse.com. This is a pivotal moment for us, that if we would get on board with this, all black organizations, all of those who are dissatisfied, and I would dare to say that's all of us. You satisfied, my brother?
No.
You satisfied, Brother Omar?
No.
I don't care what school of thought we're from, what label, or what faith tradition we are. We are all dissatisfied. And we are taught that 100% dissatisfaction brings about 100% change. That's why you hear them trying to dilute Black Lives Matter. That's why you hear them trying to accuse the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan of radicalizing the people and saying that he's trying to start all of this madness that they're adding to what he said. That's not the case, brothers and sisters. Hear for yourself. They fear what's coming and they know what's coming. And they know if we unify behind this, God only knows, but God does know. And or else deals with God too.
Yes. Omar, speak to the structure and also speak to something Fodali said. But I do want to point out something important that he brings to the table all the time, and that is the elimination of confusion. Go ahead, Omar.
You know, the American government has a vested interest in making sure that black people stay disunited. And they have done that since we first set out the soles of our feet on this land in chains. And they have not changed the agenda. Even though we got a black man in the White House, the agenda has not changed. And so what Minister Farrakhan is doing is exactly what needs to be done. We have got to come together in unity across all these barriers, especially religious lines. A lot of the Christian people are saying, I don't want to give up Christmas. I don't want to do that. Wait a minute. I think it was in the 5th chapter of John. He was a man by a pool that was lame.
Pool of Bethesda.
Pool of Bethesda. He had been lame for 38 years. And every time he tried to get in the water, he couldn't make it to the pool to get healed.
Yeah.
And then Jesus comes along and asks the man a question. He said, do you want to be healed? Farrakhan asked in Black America, do you want to be healed of this scourge of racism, white supremacy? If you want to be healed, then here's the plan. He said, get up. Pick up your bed.
I like that.
And walk.
And to that, Brother Omar, it was the man at the pool. He wanted someone to put him in the pool.
Yes.
And that's the problem with Black America. We want someone else to do what we are responsible for. So you hear the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said the black man must do for himself or suffer the consequences.
Yes.
See, we don't want to give up. As the Bible says it like this, we want the crown, but we don't want that cross.
Yeah.
See, so Jesus said, shall the whole world, or shall I bear the cross alone? Shall Christ bear the cross alone and the whole world go free? No, there's going to have to be some sacrifices that we're going to have to make. All of us, from the greatest to the least of us, if that's what we want.
That's right.
If that's not what we want, as Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, if you are afraid, stay at home, because this is not a time for the fearful. And I'm reminded in the 21st chapter of Revelation at verse 8, it says, and the fearful and the unbelieving and liars and etc., they shall also have their part in the lake which burns with fire.
Okay. Omar, I want to go back to you. On this question of confusion, do you see and hear confusion? You said something about the Christians among African Americans, and while you're at it, we have 4 minutes. Let's move with the quickness, and I see a hand in the back. How do we African Americans deal with the elimination of the confusion? And if you hit that, I think that would be a summation, a summary of just about everything we talked about here today on the show.
You know, what Minister Andre is saying is absolutely correct. We got to control the media, because whoever controls the media controls the thinking of the people. And the final call is just one outlet for the media. YouTube and these other websites our people can go to. That's where they can get the truth from. And this media control is around the world. Our people are being controlled in Africa, in India, and Pakistan, around the world. They're being controlled to hate themselves. We got to do that. Unity is the key to our success. I don't know, like Muhammad said that I don't know how many times. We have got to come together. And this is the one point we can come together. Starting with Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, going all the way to New Year's Day. If we can control our dollars in unity, then we can bring this whole structure down. That's the beginning of it. But we got to do that in unity. And we got to get that message out there any way we can. It's not about whether we believe in Jesus or don't believe in Jesus. We believe in survival. We got to be preserving ourselves and having a future for our children. We have got to do that. But we can only do it if we come together in unity. There's no other way.
Right, we've got 3 minutes left. And can you say something about, a little bit more, Minister Andre, about getting the word out to African Americans in terms of this boycott, saving money, economics, and the like? And you have a announcement there?
We have the phone number to contact for Muhammad Miles 55 is area code 901-609-2155. And again, I cannot overemphasize the fact that we should go to www.justiceorelse.com, where we go and have conversations.
Okay.
And make the conversation. This show is very, very important.
Right.
And we thank you, dear brother, for having this topic and this conversation about justice or else, because that's how it's going to happen. This is one of the avenues by which that happens.
Right, and this is, when we go to this website, are we going to see and hear more conversation?
Yes.
We can
You'll see
engage
conversation, you'll see YouTube videos,
going
you'll see
forward.
people involved, grassroots people, you'll see people from the Black Lives Matter movement, a cross-section of persons involved and that are on board. You'll see celebrities. I was just looking at a Facebook post where Bernard Hopkins is holding a Justice or Else, and he's on board with it. So it's a groundswell is definitely happening, and our people are getting informed. We just need to keep that going.
Okay, and we have 1 minute. Talut, can you take 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Go, 30. You have the skills to do it. Go ahead and do it.
Well, you know, in this conversation and the narrative that this program has created, it's been tough. It's been hard. You know, it's hard knocking. And if you're weak, you can't sustain. You can't survive. You can't make it. Everybody's not strong. There are some weak people. They just can't deal with it, okay? So the thing about it is, in a conversation like the ones that we have, it's about the truth. So we just deal with the truth, that's all. Okay? We haven't created anything. We're not making up anything. It's just, you see it out the window, you say, this is out the window, and that's it.
We're getting the signal to wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
And I view this, Brother Minister Andre, as my duty and my responsibility as a man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
To do these things and to speak these things
Yes.
and act accordingly.
Bring our sister